Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, Bollockers. Welcome back, my lovely Bollockers. It is Talking Bollocks. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Whenever you're listening to this, wherever you are, welcome. Welcome to the wonderful world of Talking Bollocks. I am your host, Howard H. Smith. Some of you may know me as host of this podcast. Some of you may know me as Keith Platt, professional Yorkshireman. That's my character because I do stand up and have been doing for 15 years. If you're a regular listener, you're sick to the fucking back teeth of hearing this biog of mine at the beginning. If this is the first time you're listening, you're probably thinking, oh, this guy sounds interesting. Or alternatively, this guy's got a massive fucking ego. Well, you're pretty much right on both, but there you go. It's welcome, and also former and current, check that shit out, former and current vocalist with UK thrash band Acid Rain. That's right, one of the so-called UK's big four thrash bands back in the day, who are rebooting, not reforming, rebooting in 2015, yo. So there you go. That's it. That's what you've tuned into. That's what you're here for. It is basically going to be some bollocks me jabbering. There you go. Was that a sentence? Some bollocks me jabbering. That's not even that. That's just words, basically, isn't it? That's just words tumbling out of my mouth, ill thought out, ill prepared. Welcome to the lack of professionalism that is this fucking podcast. Well, some call it lack of professionalism. I like to think it's rough and ready, and you know, just kind of like grungy and just kind of sort of DIY. I like to think that when people hear this podcast, they think, yeah, fucking hell, I could do one of those. Jesus, that's a shambling mess. So anyway, there you go. This is it. This is the podcast. This is the All About the Rock podcast. That's right. It is hosted by allabouttherock.co.uk. That is the website. www. In case you're some kind of fucking retard, allabouttherock.co.uk. That's where you can find this podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find it on Stitcher. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. Quite a few of you have been hooking up on Facebook, which is really cool. Very nice. We're on everything, basically. Whatever app you've got, you know, we're in there somewhere. And you're listening to this, so you fucking... It's weird. I listen to podcasts, and one of the first things they do, and I've just fallen into that trap, is say, oh yeah, we're on iTunes and we're here and we're there, and think, well, hang on, you're fucking listening. So surely you fucking know. You've found us somehow, haven't you? Well, anyway, you know, I've fallen into the trap of doing what other podcasts do there, and I try not to do that. So fuck me for getting all that shit wrong. So anyway, yeah, you found us. That's cool. What can I say? Welcome back. It's looking like a very cool podcast we've got coming up. I have got some interviews in the bag for later on in the year. Met up with Malcolm Dome a couple of weeks ago and did a really good... We were chatting away for about an hour and it felt like fucking 20 minutes. And funnily enough, right at the end, Malcolm went, right, okay, well, that's... You know, we reached a point to leave it as kind of like part one of God knows how many different parts. I'm certainly going to hook up with him again. And so anyway, you know, that was really cool. And we've got a great podcast coming up. You've got a very fucking short chat with Volbeat and a nice long sit down with Brock from 36 Crazyfists. So that's all coming up. And actually, the 36 thing is really cool because actually I'm recording this on a Thursday night, 19th of February 2015, yo. So knowing that, just how weird is this? Just think that like this could be on YouTube or All About the Rock or whatever. Just imagine, if you will, bollockers, that somebody could be listening to this, you know, in 5-10 years' time. They'd be thinking, wow, 19th of February 2015, I wonder what I was doing then. Just think, you're part of that. This is all it's all about us. It's just existing here, and then it's going to exist on the internet forever. But you're cool, because you got here first. So, anyway, I hope that wasn't too creepy. Yeah, we got a cool episode. What's been going on in the month of metal? Because that's what I've got a lingering feeling in the back of my brain that I've forgotten to do something or say something in this section up front. But you know, as usual, what a surprise! I've forgotten. I will come back, but I will come back to it. I'm just taking the signal off my phone so we don't get interrupted. So, what's been happening in the last month of metal? Well, I'm going to start off fairly selfishly and say still trying to get the reboot of Acid Rain off the ground. We lost, and it's a reboot because it's not a reformation, because it is now just me. Original bass player Mac, unfortunately, left us a few weeks ago. And so yeah, it's now just me. We're in the process of auditioning bass players, but I tell you, all of this really is reminding me of what a pain in the balls being in a band can be. It fucking really has. It's brought it all back, but hopefully it's going to be worth it. Hopefully we'll be making it onto a stage near you soon. And who knows? How about as support act with Talking Bollocks Live? Get some of you fuckers on. Get some guests on, whatever. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, kids. Yeah, I have thought about that, about taking Talking Bollocks on the road. Obviously, it's like, that's years away. Yeah, I think that could be pretty fucking cool. Just need to get more of us. And by the way, I haven't mentioned this for a few episodes, but obviously I know you guys spread the word, and that is very cool. Thank you very much. Just a reminder, please do, any of your friends who've got, if they leave their phone lying around, they leave their tablet lying around, you're near their computer, just open up the podcast app and find Talking Bollocks, subscribe them, pop it back. You're doing them a favour, and you're doing me a favour at the same time, and you're doing yourself a favour because you're increasing the listenership, and that's all good. And if you happen to find their iPod lying about, yeah, pick it up and just lean it against the wall and the floor, yeah, so it's at an angle like that, and put your fucking foot through it and snap it. Fucking iPad wank. There you go. Anyway, so a first bit of Apple bashing out the way. It's nice, isn't it, to get that old familiar feeling of fuck Apple, get that vibe going back. Oh yeah, it's Steve Jobs, genius? No, just a fucking annoying geek. Anyway, so what else have we got? Sonosphere, yeah, Sonosphere's cancelled. How funny is that? I must say I had to laugh because there was this big, shock, Sonosphere cancelled. Oh, good luck. Yeah, that's not as bad as, I don't know if you remember, a few years ago, the UK Sonosphere, wherever you're listening to this, right? The UK Sonosphere, I think it was about 3 years ago. They launched the festival and then just torpedoed it, took it out because it wasn't selling any tickets. Surprise. I mean, Faith No More were headlining the Saturday. Fine, that works, yeah. But headlining the Friday, no, let's just leave that one. Headlining the Sunday were Queen with Paul Rodgers. Well, yeah, no, I don't see that as a headlining kind of like metal festival. Not that there's such a thing as a metal festival these days anymore. Everybody seems to have all different types of music on, including download as well. But maybe Bloodstock's the exception. But anyway, headlining on the Friday that they couldn't sell tickets for, who was it? Kiss. That's right. Yes, unable to sell tickets and pull a crowd to a festival in this country. I thank you. The double whammy of Queen with Paul Rodgers and Kiss was enough for people to decide, nah, not fucking going to that. So fuck you, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. What else has been going on? I finished Scott Ian's book, and that was very cool. Enjoyed it. I heartily recommend it. There's some good stories in there, yeah, certainly worth a read. And what it inspired me to do, I wish I could say revisit. This is really poor of me, but I did lose track of this one particular Anthrax album, which is We've Come For You All. And Jesus Christ, that is a fucking awesome album. It really is. I really didn't realise how good that was. Obviously, because I'd never heard it before. But if you're out there and you like worship music and you love Joey's vocals, I wasn't a fan of the Big White Noise. I know it's not called that, but that's what I call it. And I kind of tuned out when Bush was in there, but I did listen to a few of the Bush albums. And I really like Volume 8, The Threat Is Real. But I totally overlooked We've Come For You All. What a fucking great album. great album. And Rob Caggiano's work is amazing on it. Bush's vocals are superb. I mean, it really is a great album. So forgive me. I mean, I'm sure some of you listening are going, yeah, fucking hell, Howard, we know. Got it at the time. Fucking great record. Okay, fine. Sorry. But for those of you out there who, you know, who want a listen to Anthrax at their very best with John Bush, that is a fucking great album. And it kind of got me thinking, because that's what you're supposed to say on podcasts and TV shows and radio shows and quizzes and things like that, isn't it? It's like, well, you know, I listen to a regular podcast the BBC do, and it's kind of like a comedy sports thing called Fighting Talk. And they always have a host on, and one of them's a stand-up I know, and one of them's somebody I don't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And they always go like, oh, this happened in the week. And that got me thinking. And then they do the next question. And it's quite clear that didn't get you thinking. They have a whole panel of fucking writers who come up with the questions. They just say that. They go, oh, that got me thinking. Well, anyway, by the way, there's a tangent for you, tangent fans. That did genuinely get me thinking. It was an album that I discovered. But I've rediscovered an album this month which is just as fucking good as it was when I first got it, and that's an album called Greed, and the band is Pulkas. P for Peter, U for, oh fucking hell, I'm not spelling it out like a cunt. Pulkas, Pulkas. It came out on Earache. It was produced by Colin Richardson. It came out, I think, early 2000s, 90s. If I'd been prepared, I would have got the CD, had it in front of me, but I didn't. Anyway, it's a fucking great album. Certainly worth all of you checking out. Certainly worth tracking down. Fucking great album. And I just rediscovered it. I mean, I loved it at the time, but I've rediscovered it. And that got me thinking, rediscovering albums, what a really cool thing that is when you know, you've already got it. You come back to it and you go, fucking hell, that is brilliant, you know, and it is. It's like, it's almost like having that album new again. So anyway, if any of you are out there, I'd love to know about you rediscovered albums. Just recently, you have been interacting a bit more as a group, and there's no carrot on a stick. If you want to interact, great, and if you don't. You don't have to. But I'd really. Oh, excuse me. There you go. Yeah. As always, nice to have a cough on the podcast. Me having a drink. And yes, if this is your first time, I could have edited that out. Yes, I could, but I fucking didn't. So, hey, go do your own podcast. Cough and fucking edit that out, you twat. Who am I talking about? Anyway, yeah. So if you, as you rediscover them, get in touch. It'd be a lovely feature for any of you, like, I definitely the best ones. I'll give you a call, come on the show, and we'll have a chat about it. And when I say rediscover, by all means, if you listened to like King Diamond, them back in the day, and you were massively disappointed in the follow up to Abigail, and you go back to it and you go back and you play it again and you go, yep, that's still fucking disappointing. That's fine. That's fine. I want to hear about, you know, you rediscovered it. You either rediscovered it and it was all right back in the day, and then you play it now and you go, fuck me, that's amazing. That's really improved. Or you can play something that you thought was great back in the day and now you've rediscovered that it's shit. You know, so by all means, I'm just really up for hearing all about that, you know, the different kind of shit. So if you feel like doing it, do, and if you don't, you know, it's all good. So what else has happened? Music for Nations is coming back from the dead. How weird is that? I interviewed Jem Howard, former Music for Nations label manager and stalwart, back in fucking December. And boom, Music for Nations is coming back. There's a clip on YouTube, and I think it's Universal. Universal, who now own all those master tapes, just basically gone into the vaults, see what they can re-release, chuck out, and a very good idea. I mean, somebody in the marketing department wants a pat on the back coming up with, well, let's just dig out the Music for Nations brand again. And use that and knock it all out. Good thinking. Go for it. So yeah, just fucking weird that I interviewed Jem quite recently. What else has been happening? Fans proposing on stage. Really? At a Napalm Death gig? A guy, you know, I don't know. This does seem to me to be a fairly recent phenomenon, but by that I'm probably just being an old cunt, and it's probably been going on for about a decade. But seriously, I because I'm single at the moment, you know, public displays of affection just annoy me anyway. You know, you're in a fucking supermarket, you walk down an aisle and, oh, there they are, fucking snogging their faces off. You stood near food, will you fucking pack it in? You know, can't you go anywhere without expressing your love for one another? But seriously, who the fuck wants to see that at a gig? Never mind a Napalm Death show. Do you know what I mean? In between absolutely pounding grindcore, you want some fucking sweaty pair of dreadlock fucking crusties getting on stage going, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. Shall we get married? Yeah. And everyone goes, oh, isn't that great? What? Yeah. Okay, so I'm aware I'm coming off like some grumpy cunt, but for fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? Just fucking turn it in. Leave it alone. Honestly, you want to ask your girl to marry you? Do so, my friend. I'm right behind you. Yeah. If you want to do it on stage at a gig I'm at, you're getting a fucking pint thrown at you. What a grumpy old cunt, but hey, you know, these things happen. And funnily enough, while we're about it, Valentine's Day. Oh, hey, that's the one good thing about being single. Get that fucker out the way. I actually spent Valentine's night with a mate of mine. He came to see me do a gig because I was gigging out in St Neots in Cambridgeshire. Been a fucking great month for gigs, by the way. Been smashing it. Been up in Stoke, going back to Stoke because they love me so much. Hey, I'm so rock and roll. And next month I'm in Stoke, Marlow, Swindon and London. Oh yeah, climb on my back. I am fucking Metallica. I'm world traveller, motherfucker. Anyway, he came down to see me, and we went back to his, said hello to his wife, went out and had a few beers. That's what Valentine's is all about. But seriously, Valentine's, guys, are you just fucking glad to have it out the way? And here's a conversation that has never happened. One guy to another. What did you get for Valentine's? Yeah, a blowjob if you're lucky. Yeah, certainly no money spent on it, you know. Valentine's, fucking invented by the flour and chocolate industry to squeeze money out of blokes. And I, you know, any of you thinking this is in any way sexist, because I feel really guarded about that, because I now, you know, I keep having to mention that like I did in the last podcast, just because I don't like female-fronted metal bands. I'm not a sexist. This is not a sexist rank. This is aimed at Valentine's Day, and what a pile of shit it is. Anyway, look, fuck it. I'm rambling. I always like to get... I'm coming up to sort of 18 minutes. I haven't put the intro on yet, so it'll probably be about 20 minutes, and I don't like to do more than that without getting into an interview. So, okay, here's the first. Here is now the worst interview I've done yet. So those of you that were tuning in thinking, oh great, he's interviewing Volbeat, this will be good. No, it isn't. It's the Volbeat are without doubt the biggest band that I've had the pleasure to interview so far, and unfortunately, that means that, you know, it comes with the territory, that it means they're really busy, and it means they're really popular, and it means that basically we all got 11 minutes. Well, I got about 11 minutes with them. So it's not ideal. It's far from it, but that's absolutely, you know, it's not the band's fault. It's entirely my fault. Well, actually, I'm not going to take that on the chin. It's not my fault that I only had that time, but you know, that's just the way it goes. Yeah, it's not ideal. And we get to have a little bit of a chat. So anyway, it's John Larson who's the drummer, and it's Rob Caggiano, formerly of Anthrax. Yes, he was wearing the hat. And we didn't venture into hat-based conversation. But anyway, it's quite a brief chat. It's rubbish, really. You know, like I said, it's the worst interview I've done so far. I think it kind of threw me a bit. And it was just a bit like a oh yeah, sorry, this is welcome to the part of the podcast while my broken brain searches for a fucking word. Production line. And it was literally them sat there and us just you know, coming round. So yeah, a bit sort of like a bit sort of like a fucking a bit like a Bukkake, basically. Heavy metal interview Bukkake with me with me, Rob and John. Here it is. This is for a podcast.
Okay.
Okay. Called Talking Bollocks, and which hopefully we'll manage to do. This long story short, I was in a thrash band back in the day. Put 4 albums out. The band was called Acid Rain. We were a UK thrash band.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember Acid Rain.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's nice to be remembered by someone. Thank you. And I've been a stand-up comedian for the last 15 years.
Cool.
So hence.
Make us laugh. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I'm here to entertain you. Yeah, I'll do your warm-up for you. And so so basically the idea is, we'll just chat. We'll talk some shit until I get hooked off. Yeah. So anyway, first off, I wanted to kind of. I've just seen a quote of yours about a few drinks were had after the Brixton Academy show last time you were in London. Yeah. So tell us more about this this now legendary party after the Brixton show.
Brixton Academy. What did we do after that show? I'm trying to remember. Oh, we had did we win some kind of award in Denmark? Wasn't there a party in the dressing room?
Oh yeah. We got the what was it? Was it Danish Music Award? Where we won for best?
It's like the Danish Grammy, basically. We
Cool.
We won that night.
That's the one, wasn't it? For best rock album, best
Something.
best
Something like that.
something.
It obviously meant a lot.
Oh, it was great. It's just-
Yeah.
That show, it feels like it was
So long.
50 years ago.
Yeah,
in
no,
my head right
I can imagine. I was there, and it seems like a long time ago to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not on the road as you guys have been. Although technically, I'm always on the road because it's like it's different. There's no album cycle for me. It's just you just keep going. Mm-hmm. Which also means you never finish. You kind of never finishing anything.
Right.
So it's just constant work in progress. But there you go. Anyway. Welcome back. It's nice to have you back.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah, and pretty much sold out tour. That's in this day and age. Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's some serious tickets you've sold there.
Feels good.
Were you guys? I mean, and Hatebreed as a support seems kind of like fairly left field for you guys.
Well, we always have some very strange support acts. We've had quite a few different acts over the years, but why not? Hatebreed was available, and we like Hatebreed. So
Great band.
It's a great band, and they kill, so to speak. So it's a perfect match.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. And I know you're kind of starting to think about the next album. Is there going to be time off, or is it going to be?
We got some time. We have 6 months off after this tour, basically.
Right. So that's 6 months of not seeing each other at all, or
We will probably see each other, but I would imagine that we probably stay away from each other until January next year.
Yeah, January, February, probably.
And then probably start to see what we can come up with.
yeah. And obviously it'll all be kind of churning ideas around.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael he has ideas already brewing in his head right now, and we've been trying out a few bits, but only bits and pieces. But I'm pretty sure once he gets home, we'll start working out, see what he can come up with.
I was going to say, are you noodling around in soundcheck at all with
A little bit.
Yeah, we've been
ideas?
trying some different things out.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces here and there.
The plan is to just, take some time off and then reconvene next year and just.
Yeah. So with you being in the band now, will you still be handling production duties, or does being in the band make you too close? Will you be bringing somebody in to maybe?
Well, the last record was I produced that as well with Jacob, as well as playing the guitar on the record. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you've got enough work on as it is. That's fair enough. I mean, it's.
I'm used to that role though, because that's what I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
Playing guitar and producing, bands that I'm in. Anthrax, The Damn Things, Volbeat.
Yeah, you've been a busy guy, haven't you? just juggling many bands, many different.
I like making noise. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, are you one of these guys that well, basically downtime is bad for you?
I have no downtime. I don't know. I haven't had downtime in
8
years. Something like 8 years, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know. Because I've been touring full on, between all those different bands, without a break, basically.
Yeah.
So.
But downtime can be a killer as well, especially creatively. Like kind of like the less you do, the less you want to do. You know the old saying: if you want something done, give it to a busy guy.
Right.
Yeah, but with us, it's always been like, we're always looking forward to go home to end the tours, and it's like, oh, we're not going to do anything. But after like 2 or 3 weeks, you kind of go,
yeah, we start going.
Can we
cabin fever?
Do something, anything, and then we go back out, and after a week, we're like, oh, let's go home. Can we go home now?
Yeah.
So it's that sort of constant dilemma.
Yeah, always.
And are you living in Denmark? Have you got a place there?
I live in the middle bunk on the left on the bus. I'm in between places. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna end up, but yeah.
Where's home in the States?
New York City.
Right. Okay. Whereabouts?
In Manhattan.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So even when you're not on tour, you're in a fucking happening, busy place.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, because that would be a bit of a freak going out to a kind of like quiet village or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm used to the big city.
I've just spent the weekend in a village because I live down here, and obviously it's constantly playing show. And then I've just spent the weekend in where I'm from, up in Yorkshire.
Okay.
And it's kind of a bit of a trip, really, because you just think, wow, this is how some people live their lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit freaky, to be honest.
Yeah.
Being out in a town where it's busy, if there's kind of like 10, 15 people in the pub.
Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Yeah.
But obviously you've gone from you're going around Europe, you're getting bigger responses at festivals, you're getting bigger venue wise. Where is Volbeat? Is Volbeat? I know you're a stadium band in some countries. Is it a nice place to be, being that kind of stadiums in one place, smaller kind of sweaty little venues in others. It keeps you having that variety.
Absolutely, but it's way worse for the production guys.
Yeah.
They have way too much work regarding production, but I mean, it's basically it's all good. It's like playing, big arenas can be a lot of fun, but going back to places like this is sometimes actually even more fun because it's just us and drums and the crowd. There's nothing. Well, we do have a bit of lights, but no fireworks, no bombs, no anything, just us. But for some reason, it seems to work whenever we play, arenas or clubs. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just do what we do.
Yeah, we do what we do. It's fun to go out, in my opinion. I think it's fun to go out and do the arenas where you can show off, have a bit of fireworks.
Yeah.
I'm a huge sucker for all fires, bombs and stuff like that.
Yeah, do the Volbeat Rammstein show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Set fire to each other.
Yeah, we're working on that actually. No, I mean I've always loved seeing bands who can put up those big stage shows, but it's also fun to go every once in a while, just go back to a smaller club and just see a band play.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a completely different experience,
Absolutely.
isn't it? In one, you are projecting the show, and you need to make sure people right at the back can see.
Yeah.
And in others, you are face to face, and you're feeding off the energy of the crowd as much as anything.
Yeah.
You looking for tonight is it's a bit of a kind of odd venue for a show, really, isn't it? It's for London.
It's a legendary venue. I mean, a lot of great bands have played here over the years.
I'm excited to play here tonight. The only time I was ever here was when the Classic Rock Awards from Anthrax won an award.
Yeah.
And I was here for the party and all that stuff. It was great. But never played here. Never seen a show here either.
All right, I've seen a number of shows here, but I guess you guys are kind of probably the heaviest end of what I've seen here. Chili Peppers did a kind of like secret kind of thing here back in the day.
Yeah.
and I think it's Jello Biafra here doing a spoken word tour as well. Yeah. Which was very, very cool. Yeah. So yeah, no pressure.
Yeah. No, all I know is that the Ramones played it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting story because the venue was kind of becoming very decrepit and falling apart, and the local council realised that this was a historical place that should be kept. So they poured a ton of money into it, and now it's
beautiful. That's great.
Yeah, and there's a lot of events like the one that you went to. The Classic Rock Awards and Venue Awards and all sorts of awards. Scott, are you trying to give me?
Sorry. You trying? I'm that guy again.
Wow, that's well. Normally, Normally we have about 40 to 50 minutes with each guest. Unfortunately, this has been curtailed, but let's try and do something again when you guys are back over here, or when I'm in Denmark, whichever sooner. Probably be over here. But thanks for your time, guys. I know it's a bit of a grind and all the rest of it, but have a good show.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
See you later.
Cheers. See you later, guys. So there you go. That's the audio. So I'm still giggling. That's the audio bukkake as we all lined up to take our turns to dump our loads of words all over them. I can't be easy. I mean, I managed to make interviewing them sound very fucking difficult. It must be a lot worse being the other side of the mic. I mean, yeah. Anyway, hopefully we will get to. I will get a chance to interview him properly at some point. But yeah, it was just one of those things. It had to happen sooner or later, guys, because I'd like to think all of them have pretty much rocked up to now, and I hope there was, you got something out of that. It was. Don't get me wrong, it was nice to meet them. It was. I mean, look, I can't complain. I went down there, had a chat with them, was on the guest list for a gig that had been sold out for fucking months. I got to watch Volbeat, who are a band I really, really enjoy. So, it was a good night for me. Good night. So fuck you for the last 11 minutes. I got in and got on the guest list. Fuck you. And I made the mistake of tweeting and posting a picture while they were on. Oh. Yeah, well, I didn't do that at 36 Crazyfists this week, as I'm sure you noticed. I didn't put anything up there, so whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that was the interview. I'll tell you what, I was amazed that John, the drummer, had heard of Acid Rain. That was like fucking hell! Wow. I am. Well, as you heard, I was amazed. I still am amazed. The biggest one was when fucking, I don't know, for those of you who listened to the Christmas specials, when Igor Cavalera said, "Oh yeah, Acid Rain, yeah, I remember it," I was like, fucking hell! I was sat here with a big heavy metal hard on. Honestly, it was just. Fuck me, really. It's amazing to think that what I did all those years ago is just still resonates and had that kind of impact. You're just not aware of it. You're certainly not aware of it in the time when you're in it. And after all these years, and obviously, it's going to sound like such an old cunt to some of you, but with the invention of the internet having happened since. It's amazing that it's kept the music alive. And so as much as I bang on about people like I saw somebody had posted one of our albums somewhere, and I was like, I actually felt myself getting a bit annoyed about it. And then I thought, well, actually, do you know what? Our music being available online and people being able to listen to it on YouTube and shit like that, and Spotify, that is what's kept the band alive for 20 odd years. So I certainly can't moan about that, but I can moan about putting new shit out and people downloading that fucking stuff for free. But I haven't put any new shit out yet, so there you go. And on that point, just for any of you people who are Acid Rain fans, I did actually have a message from Kev today, who had a friend of a friend had sent him one of the songs, the new lineup that we've demoed. And in Kev's words, he liked it a lot, and he was really impressed. So there you go, just throwing it out there. Yeah, whatever. Sorry, I'm getting a bit fucking obsessed with my own life here instead of jabbering on about everything else. So here we go. Thank you to Pete Gray for posting on the on Facebook. I had already seen this story, but Pete reminded me of it today, and so I thought I'd throw it in here. Which is, I'm sure some of you have seen. There's a guy in the States who, where else, who has he said for charity he's listening 24/7. Yeah, for an entire week he's listening to Nickelback, including when he's asleep with his headphones on. How fucking insane is that guy? I mean, that is sitting in a bath full of baked beans. Fuck you sitting in a bath of baked beans. This guy's listening to Nickelback for a week. How mental is that? He's actually done some really funny tweets as well. One of them was, hey guys, just so you know, if you listen to Nickelback while you sleep, they steal your dreams, which I thought was a particularly amusing line. But so a shout out for that knobhead. Anyway, we've got to the section of the podcast that I like to call no different to any of the rest of it. It's just me jabbering on. But it's been a while since we've talked actual new music, so I just wanted to talk about some of the new music that I'm listening to at the moment. I have come across Periphery are a band that they've been on the periphery of my listening choices. Hey, see what I did there? Hey, took the band name, used. Hey, fucking that's why I do stand up. Hey, so anyway, yeah, Periphery. They were a gent band. That is D-J-E-N-T, gent, or math metal. Now, gent and math metal are two genres within metal that I don't claim to know a whole fucking lot about, but I do like some of the bands. Some of it to me is just it's fucking amazing musicianship, but it's also the equivalent of those musicians getting their cocks out and rubbing them up and down their instruments. It's like, music is about songs. I hate to sound like I'm going to refer to myself as an old cunt yet again, but that's got nothing to do with age, actually. No, fuck that. I take that old cunt back. Music is about songs. I don't care who you are. You can have don't get me wrong, amazing musicianship, Dream Theater, great band, but there is some great songs. People would also argue with me that no, I disagree. I think they're the purveyors of the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, which is basically people who just get lost on this fucking musical masturbation ride instead of realizing it's a song. Now, fine, again, there's people out there who like that, but yeah, look, I want a song. And Periphery have, for me, they've come out of gent, they've come out of math metal, and they're almost prog. The new album, or albums, check this out, okay, is called Juggernaut. And it's two separate CDs, two separate albums. The first one's Alpha, and the second one's Omega. And being the contrary dick that I am, I bought Omega. And I bought it because for $7.99 you get the album and an hour-long DVD in it, which I haven't watched yet, so that's going to be a nice surprise for me, isn't it? And I downloaded the first album for free. I'll be getting the CD. Fuck off. Yeah, I will be getting it. Now that is a lot of music, and given the kind of music they play, all I can say is that I almost feel like I'm halfway through reading a really thick book. I know I'm enjoying it. I'm not quite sure what the story is, because it is a concept album as well. And bits of it are just sort of seeping into my brain. It's just a lot of music to listen to, and given that particular genre, it's quite hard to take in. I almost feel like I should listen to it while I sleep 24/7, but just to get into it as opposed. But anyway, what I'm saying is, it's good stuff. It's definitely good stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, great. If you're not, if you're into sort of proggy, if you're into proggy stuff, even Tool or something like that, it's worth. I'm not saying it's like Tool in any fucking way. I'm just saying that you've probably got the ability to listen to this kind of music. I called that music then, didn't I? I presumably that's music. Is that music played by cows? Ba-dum. Oh yeah, music. Cows, I'm a fucking comedy genius. Yeah, Periphery, Juggernaut, Alpha and Omega, worth checking out. And now the flip side of that fucking coin, I got hold of the Denial Fiend album, Horror Holocaust. Now, fucking hell. Now, I think it came out in 2006. The CD's actually in the car, so I haven't got it here, so I can't read the details off. Again, I apologise. I probably should be more organised, but fuck it. You didn't choose in for all. You didn't tune in. Tune in. Who the fuck are you, dickhead? You didn't listen. You didn't come to this to hear me be prepared now, did you? Anyway, it's got Blaine from The Accused on vocals, so that's me. Done. That's me. Fucking love that guy. The Accused, one of my favourite ever bands. Just awesome. Go back. Martha Splathead. Listen to it all. It's just fucking grinning like an Undertaker. I mean, this is my impression of Blaine. Fucking brilliant, honestly. To be fair, that could have probably been also Martin Walkier. And a number of other people. Actually, we always used to have a joke about Martin back in the day, because Martin's got such a... I mean, I love the guy, get on well with him, but he's got such a unique vocal delivery. We always used to wonder if he used to go down the local pub in Nottingham and go, "Good evening, can I hand a pint? Can I get a pint of beer? Please, barman!" But there you go. Anyway, sorry if that was a bit loud, but I won't be doing that again. So anyway, yeah, Denial Fiend, Horror Holocaust. It is getting re-released on vinyl in the UK. Track it down. It is brutal. It is so fucking hairy. I think heavy. I think Terry Butler plays bass on it as well. I think Rick Ross might be involved. Honestly, that's a bit shit to me. I'm sorry. I'll put a link up so you can check it out, which you'll all ignore anyway. So fuck you. But yeah, just so fucking heavy. Really enjoying that. And while we're on the going back trip, I remember 2007, I think it was. I came across a band called Byzantine, and an album called Oblivion Beckons. And it was really weird because Oblivion did beckon them, because by the time the album was come out, they'd split up. It's a great release from back in 2007. But they came back in 2013 with the self-titled album, and they're about to put out a new album called Releases to Resolve. You see, I have done some homework. I am sort of organised in some way, and yeah, basically Byzantine, really worth checking out. I know there's a lot of old schoolers out there that listen to this. I think you might like Byzantine. The website is Byzantine Metal, right? Byzantine is spelt Byzantine. I'll put some links on the Facebook page, but if you want to go and look on YouTube and shit like that, Oblivion Beckons was a great album. Really enjoyed it, and kind of rediscovering it again as well with them bringing a new album out. But yeah, when I was listening to it, I thought, yeah, I'm sure, fuck it, and I know old schoolers listen, so I was thinking, yeah, I'm sure you guys might actually be quite into this. So yeah, worth checking out. And I guess it's time for another interview. Really, it's time for some more. It's time for some more chat in the chatosphere of heavy metal chat. So yeah, that was an Alan Partridge impression. I haven't just fucking lost my shit. So this is a sit down with Brock from 36 Crazyfists. Now, for those of you that don't know, they have a new album that came out on Monday. Monday just gone. I told you what the date was earlier. You fucking figure it out. It's called Time and Trauma. I saw them on Tuesday night. I am sort of organised now. Here we are. Look, here's the CD. I bought this CD at the gig. Yeah, despite the fact on Monday I was at the record label interviewing Brock. I didn't go around going, "Oh, can I have a free CD?" like some sort of cunt. No, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to support them. So I bought the CD at the gig. Glad I did. I've been listening to it. The album, I had access to it. Spine Farm sent me up an account so you can listen to shit and all the rest of it. So I've had it a good 3 weeks. It's fucking awesome. If you've ever liked 36 Crazyfists, I certainly suggest you go dipping back in. The album's called Time and Trauma, and they have been through some fucking trauma, this band. Brock lost his mum in 2011. And he wrote a song immediately. Well, you'll hear us talking about it, but the album deals with loss, with a lot of... I mean, obviously that had a massive impact on him. Their bass player, their original bass player came back. Well, not the original bass player, but one of the bass players they had. He came back. He'd recently lost his mum. They're from Alaska. They've been through a hell of a lot. They haven't put an album out in 5 years. I couldn't fucking believe that. Now, if you're listening to this thinking 36 Crazyfists, aren't they new metal? Aren't they metalcore? Just think about this. They've been away for 5 years, put an album out, and I saw them at the fucking Camden venue, Electric Ballroom, and it was fucking. There was a lot of people there. It wasn't packed, it wasn't sold out, but it was a really good turnout. And that just tells you something about this band. It tells you that they're more than just that kind of band that you've heard about and thought, oh yeah, no, that's not my kind of thing. No, the singer sort of sings and he screams, and I don't know. Seriously, good band. I don't know why I love them so much, but I do. And it was an awesome set on Monday. It was fucking awesome. They played most stuff they played off the first 3 albums, which are my favourite. And a little bit of Tide and Takers, and then they avoided the next couple, which were a bit weak, which he talks about. It's a really, I really enjoyed having a chat with him. It's a proper Talking Bollocks conversation. So fuck it, let's go. This is me and Brock talking bollocks on Monday. So, I used to be in a thrash band back in the day called Acid Rain. We were a UK thrash band, put out 4 albums, toured the world. Yeah, it was great, right in the in the halcyon days. And then packed that. I've been doing stand up for the last 15 years. So I'm a stand up comic.
Oh wow!
And you're brave.
Oh yeah.
Tough gig.
Yeah, you know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I try to make jokes on stage sometimes at night, and it goes over like a ton of bricks. So I got a lot of respect for the stand-up comedian.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I do it because I enjoy it. You know, it's a form of expression. And after being in a band for years, I'm sure you can appreciate this. Having gone through everything you've gone through, there was I just wanted to get away and do stuff on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be able to actually make a decision and then do it.
Yeah. That needs 4 or 5 different heads to come together. I can understand that.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I'm kind of getting a rebooted lineup of the old band back together at the moment.
All right.
And it's just like totally reminding me of
why you couldn't do it in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. and all these years working on my own hasn't helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like it's kind of weird getting it all back together again. But it is nice to just be able to, go out and do stuff.
Sure.
And say yes and no, and I'll have a meeting and everybody get their input and all the rest of it. It's funny. A friend of mine's he's a comic as well. And we have this thing about planning the perfect murder, right? It's just one of these things, right? Probably tells you more about comedians than you need to know. and he said he met a cop, a real cop, a genuine cop. And he's like, oh, I want to tell you about this, this plan we've got for the perfect murder. He said, basically, me and my friend, and the cop just stopped him and went, let me stop you there. You've just doubled the chances of getting caught. And I was like, wow, yeah. Now when you think about a band and you times that by 4 or 5 people,
right.
It's like trying to kind of shift it into all in the same direction.
Right.
It's it's reminding me all about how tough it is. But anyway, you've kind of been there and back again. To use a Lord of the Rings phrase.
That's a good analogy for it.
Yeah,
a little bit, man, a little bit. I think one thing I've been kind of thinking about is that in 2010, when we put out our album prior to the one that came out today.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Thank you so much. I think I was a little bit burnt out towards the end of that cycle because, our drummer that I'd been in the band with for, 18 years at that point, or even before the 36 band, we were in a band together. He was really miserable on the road. He hated touring, and in turn, it made it difficult for everyone, as it would. So towards the end of that, I just remember being extremely burnt. There's all these ups and downs in this business, and so what I'm really getting at is now that we're in our 21st year. We got a new album out now, and the excitement and the hunger and the absolute joy that I'm experiencing right now is not something I thought I would have been able to say in 2010.
Yeah.
So that is a surprise for me, and one that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
You know, because ultimately you don't want to get burnt out.
Well,
you hear it in your work, and you it's just it's a miserable thing.
Do you think you can hear it in some of your work?
Well, I think that album, the 2010 album, I think.
Are you deliberately avoiding even calling it by its
No,
title?
no, because I kind of want to be careful, because I've kind of been talking about this a lot. It's not that I don't like the record.
Yeah.
But if you had never heard of my band, I wouldn't show you that record.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a diss to the album or not. I just don't think that we were challenged. We weren't the happiest of guys, and we wrote a record that we wanted to just do whatever we wanted to do. Like, let's just make this heavy album. We did. But when I listen to it, which I never do, but if I do,
yeah,
I would say that it could be any band.
Right, okay.
And I've always thought that we had love us or hate us, you know it's us. And that album was a little bit just more in the middle of an easier thing to label. And so this album, we really needed to get back to what makes our band unique, and that sense is you know, the more melodic vocals and the signature guitar riffs and the beats and all of it, you know. But I think it needed to be way more thought out, and I think we need to be really challenged, and I think it needed to be difficult, and there was all of that. So
yeah,
that's the coolest part about it, because now the press is all coming out, and boy, if I could, you know, give these guys back rubs or whatever they need for the nice press we've been receiving so far, I'd do it, because of course you want that, you know, but I wasn't really expecting to see it as good as it is, and that's awesome.
The thing is, it's kind of like, I got into you probably third album, quite just before Castaways, I think.
So the third album would have been Rest Inside the Flames, and then it would have been the Tide and Its Takers.
Tide and Its Takers. Yeah. Tide and Its Takers, yeah. No, so I came in on third album, and like I actually went in order. First album, and I was like, hey, yeah, this is cool. It was kind of almost like, yeah, this is like hinting at something greater, and then you delivered more, and then you delivered more, and for me, Tide and Takers was where I kind of started sort of just drifting away from the band a little bit. And it was so strange hearing the single from the album. I wasn't expecting
this album.
Yeah.
Which one? The newest one, or Am I was the first one?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it. It's like I wasn't expecting. It's kind of, you just gone quiet. You know, you just gone really quiet, and there was no. And I kind of find this quite refreshing, being sort of fairly old school. Is that, you know, there didn't seem to be a great deal of doing your dirty washing in public, as it were, and kind of saying like, well, you know, telling everybody every minute of every thought of every plan that you're gonna, you know, and again, that's been really refreshing with the new album as well. Because normally you get 6 to 9 months of, man, this is going to be the greatest thing you've ever heard. We've gone back to our roots and blah. It gets a bit fucking tiring after a while.
You won't hear me say that.
But that's it. It's like, you know, the flip side of that is, you know, what you're supposed to do. You can't be out there like, you know, doing press for your new album going, yeah, it's all right.
You can't do that either. That's cool. I think it was difficult when we were gone to not answer the questions that were getting thrown at us all the time.
Good for you.
Because I wanted to be like, well, we're not done. Just hold on. But I just was like, I couldn't be bothered with it, you know. I just wanted to focus on my family and things that were like real, you know, not in this interweb world, you know. So, and since I'm the only one that really runs the page, it was fairly easy not to do it. So, and that's. You know, some people, I remember in the beginning, people like that were around us, old management or whatever, they're like, you got to pump this stuff out because the attention spans are short.
Yeah.
And I was always like, yeah, well, whatever. You know, we've had a slow grind the whole time. Our fans, I don't know if we've lost fans over the years, but our fans have been there for us. You know what I mean? And they're extremely loyal, and they're a unique base. You know, it's like we got like the jock, we got the death metal kid, but we don't have a whole bunch of any of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a few here and there that comes together to make this beautiful thing that we're grateful for. But I think if you don't, really convey the message of how grateful you are to these people, then you might as well hang it up. Yeah. And that's a big thing that I'm trying to convey now, that, without them, we wouldn't be able to be here anyway.
Yeah.
So it's important. So there's a balance you got to find. You got to treat your people right, but you also got to have your privacy, and you also got to, like you said, not air your laundry, and that's definitely not our style.
But also, I think there's just something to be said for it, because not that you intentionally did it, but there becomes an impatience with no news, and then there becomes a mystique, kind of like, what is going on there?
Yeah,
you know, because everybody knows everything all the time,
right?
You know,
yeah, exactly.
and so when that does build, and it is kind of like because several times I was like, visiting the site and things like, what is going on with these guys? I
think it's really, sitting here with you, it's the best thing that ever happened to us, because, there's that old saying that distance makes the heart grow fonder. That whole idea of hurry up, don't let them forget about you. That doesn't really apply to everyone, and I think that the buzz that we have for our band right now, and the press, I've done more press for this album than I've ever done for any album, and I'm 20 years into this, so all of those things were meant to be, and all those things have turned out to be exactly how they had to be, and hopefully it's only going to get better and bigger, and who knows? But one thing I've learned is I don't put any stock in the future. I don't want to live that way anymore. We were always like, what's next? What tour can we get on? Who's doing what for us? What are they doing? Yeah. If you don't live in the now, you're going to miss it. So we're really trying to focus on that, and mostly because we're here right now on tour and getting to see these people that are so passionate about the band, and you're just like, crap, man, this is so awesome. We come from a town where no one gets to do this, and I've been doing it for a lot of years now, and I'm just like, you have to live in it right now, because one day we won't. Yeah. And so that's the beauty. I'm really living in that, and I really love that I'm focused on it.
No, it's awesome. I think the weird thing is as well is like you were a kind of you were an album every 2 years band. Yeah. As many bands are. I hate to use the phrase, but it's almost like a business model. It is. Yeah. You've got to be on the road, then you've got to do an album to be able to be on the road. And for an album, for a band of your kind of type, I don't want to lump you in with like metalcore or this or that. It's all bullshit anyway. It's just music. But for a band of your kind of ilk, to actually be able to go away for 5 years with no product, come back, and like you say, it be as embracing as it is. That's phenomenal. You're not a Tool, you're not a Metallica. Do you know what I mean? You're not if you'd said in 2010 we're not going to put an album out for 5 years. Forget it. Yeah.
No, you're right, and I'll toot their horn. Getting with Spine Farm, and the whole layout that we have right now for, the way that the singles were put out. There's a video coming out in a few days for Swing the Noose, which is our next single. There was a pre-sale order. We've never even had one of those, where it was a special bundle and all these people got them, and then they put them on the Facebook with their pictures wearing the stuff, and that's all been part of this plan. And I think if we didn't have all the new team surrounding the band, it would have been same old. Yeah. Because that was part of the problem. It was same old. We were with, nothing against the former record labels, but it just kind of ran its course, and they kind of knew what we would do, and we knew what they would do, and there was no one trying to get over the next hump. So once we finished the album, the artwork the photo shoot, all on our dime. We didn't even have a label. We came to this company with a finished product, like ready to turn in if it was a thing we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it was an awesome position to be in. We hadn't been in that position before. So, and that's the thing. I think the older you get and the more stable you become, hopefully, and financially, you can afford to do certain things that maybe you can't when you're younger. And so, you know, and these days it doesn't cost much to make a record.
Yeah.
And I'm not dissing any bands that are doing these Go Kickstarters or whatever the hell they are, fund me projects. I see some of the numbers for it and I'm like, really?
But also, that's either your thing or it isn't.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see our band do it because...
Well, not given the sort of, as we were saying earlier, like, hey, if you're not updating your website and news about the band for a number of years, I can't see you putting it out there saying, you know,
can I borrow a couple bucks? No.
It doesn't really. That I'm old school. That's how it kind of feels.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Like, excuse me, can you give me some money so I can go to work? It's just.
Yeah, I want to be clear that I'm not talking shit on other bands.
Absolutely.
Because it works for some of them.
Yeah.
And I think that the fans get a special thing out of it, and I get all that. But I think it stems from the whole, I probably shouldn't bring it up anymore, but what's one more time?
Go on.
It's the VIP thing now. Like if you pay an extra 60 quid, you can come in early, you can meet me, and you can get some sort of item that maybe somebody else can't get. I understand the industry is in shambles and you need to find a new revenue stream. But the problem I have with it is my band has always been in the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in the bar, not as much before the gig anymore, but if I want to come out and watch the band, I'm not afraid to go out in front of the floor and watch the bands that I'm on tour with.
Yeah.
I am not above that. And I'm not saying anything about the mystique of the rock and roller and you want to see him when he comes out. That works for some people. I'm just not a flashy guy, and I like the interaction with people that have paid money to see me. So I would not be able to do that still if I charged a certain amount of people extra money. Yeah. Because then they're going to be pissed off. They're like,
you're cheapening you're cheapening their experience.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
And I know my management, whom I love very much, they've just brought it up to me because they have bands on their roster that do it, and nothing against them. But I told my guys, I said, until we come up with something that is so badass, and I can't say no about it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that doesn't make me better than anybody. It's just my style, and it's because I'm not a flashy guy, and I don't need you to do something special to shake my hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And I'm really not trying to drive that home that I'm like the nicest guy in the world. I'm just trying to...
Oh, no, I've heard some terrible things about you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah, good luck, they said.
Yeah, it's just that where we come from, it's just, you know, it's a product of our environment.
And speaking of where you come from, a friend of mine asked me to ask you if you have a favourite chainsaw. So you know that's not a bullshit
I'm going to go with the Husqvarna.
Yeah!
What do I have at home? I think it's called the Outrigger or something like that. Although I had to chop down quite a few trees this fall to get my homeowner's insurance renewed, and the guy was telling me that the trees behind my house were a fire hazard. I'm like, those trees have been there for 30 years. I don't know. At least. Yeah. So anyway, I was using the old Husqvarna. It's a good chainsaw.
It's a good chainsaw. And Husqvarna, if you're listening,
we'll take 36 Crazyfists signature model, please.
How cool would that be? That's going to be done. You're one of the only bands in the world that can justify putting out like snow machines.
Yeah.
And because Metallica just done the skis, you guys are going to do a snow machine.
I saw that did the skis. We would love. Well, very cool thing. In Alaska, we have so many pro snow machine riders. And dear friends of mine have like their sleds wrapped with 36 Crazyfists stuff, and they're in the X Games and things of that nature. So super cool. Anyway, I mean, it's a small place up there, even though it's the biggest state in the country. There's not
but mostly uninhabitable.
It's a desolate wasteland up there, but a beautiful place.
Yeah, no, well, I come from Yorkshire in the UK. Similar, desolate but a beautiful place. It's not. But my friend who was my friend lived in Anchorage for 2.5, 3 years.
Oh yeah, cool.
And she used to run dogs out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law's way into that stuff.
Oh really? Cool. I mean, she's like still trying to do it now in the UK, and she wrecked her knee on a snow machine straight into a tree stump.
Yep, that happens often. You got to wear knee pads for that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a harsh place to come from, and I know you've done a lot of talking about losing your mother, about everything that you've been through since 2007, and not just then as well. Before then, I mean, you guys have you've taken more lumps than most bands.
Yeah, we I guess we can take it. I guess that's what they figure. But
I mean, you've lost a lot of dudes.
It's weird. It's weird. I thought I think about it. Growing up where we grew up, I think there's just not enough to do, and the kids are fairly. It's extreme conditions. It's extreme sports. It's extreme drinking. It's the whole thing is.
It's everything.
Let's go Mach 10 the whole time and find our own fun. And in turn, tragedy has come out of those things at times, but it's like anywhere, it's surrounding all of us. But no question. I mean, from the early start of this band, we lost JD, our first bass player, in the first year and a half. A couple nights after we opened for Primus, which was the biggest show we'd ever done, and that was like the 3,000 or 4,000 people. We were at an all-time high at our very young age in the career, and then we lost JD, who I had known my whole life from elementary up. And I think of him often, and I know he would be really, really stoked for us that we're still doing this stuff. But we do it. We do all that stuff, all this stuff. We never forget about those guys that that we grew up with playing music and that have passed. And I think it's just a kind of inspiration too, to uplift those names and those memories. And I mean, that's kind of what our band is about. Our music. We're not singing about politics or really a global stance on religion or anything like that. It's about our lives and what has obtained to us as human beings. And some of our friends relate to it, and some people have no idea what we're talking about, but that's awesome too, because ultimately song is open to interpretation. I didn't know that Hetfield was singing about cocaine on Master of Puppets when I first heard it, but I know what that song meant to me. And it meant tie your skates real tight and go hit somebody hard when you get on the ice. I mean, those are the things that I used music for. Yeah. I was an athlete first. Let's use athlete lightly. I love hockey, and that was a big thing for me growing up. So heavy music went hand in hand with getting pumped up for sports.
But I was exactly the same. Football was my thing.
Sure.
And I was doing the band at the same time as a young guy, and juggling the two.
Yep.
And actually music became the band literally in the space of 2 months. I used to leave rehearsal early to go and play sport, and then I broke a bone in my ankle, and I was out for 2.5. And in that space of time was when the music kind of like crept in, and the sport kind of faded away. I was kind of like, this is. I'm not going to get kicked as much.
Very similar for me. I don't think it was an injury, but it was just more of the slacker style I was hanging with at the time. And I was like, man, music's easy. I can do this. I don't have to make grades for music and things like that. So it wasn't. I mean, I always made grades for sports. I was do your homework, kids. But you know what I mean.
Oh, don't worry. There's no kids listening to this. They're just really old fuckers.
But yeah, no. I was the same way. Sports was huge for me, and music. I juggled them both, and music eventually won, and it's been a great ride.
Cool, man. Cool. And I mean, you're gonna be on the road a lot. By the way, I mean, I know we kind of sort of skated over the new album somewhat, but one word: brooding. That's kind of. There just seems to be a real kind of brooding quality about the whole thing. It's just it's almost tangible, It's almost tangible. There's kind of like in some cases brooding, in some cases kind of seething, kind of, you know.
I'll take all those words. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you must be incredibly proud because, like you said, you know, to come back, you're obviously completely re-infused. You know, it's a kind of new lineup as well, isn't it? It's a whole rebirth, and it's all come from you having to go through shit that no one wants to go through, and that we're all going to go through eventually. Right. And it's just it's beautiful seeing something so positive and so creative and it's come from you know, it's that old the greatest start comes from struggle. It's that old thing again. You know?
Yeah, it is, and I appreciate you saying all that. And you know, we really didn't get to talk about it. We're a small little unit, so we didn't really realize that everybody would feel the way they have so far. And I guess it wasn't that we didn't realize it, but we just didn't think about it yet. And so it's really nice, and it's made me give a chance to really dive more into it, because you get so close to something you can't see outside of it. And I know specifically for me, I wanted to get back to an original approach vocally, where it wasn't that I didn't want to scream at all, but I didn't want to scream for the sake of a musical piece to be heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wanted to, like, when
oh, can you come in and chuck a scream on this?
That's just
kind of like
so
as an afterthought, and
I've done that before, where it's just like, man, that's gonna be the easiest thing to do on that part, so we'll just do that. And this time I just really wanted to, because I didn't start out like that. You know, I started out, I mean, let's be honest, Metallica's the reason I'm in a band, but Hetfield being my favorite guy isn't my favorite singer. My favorite singer was like Lane Staley and Chris Cornell and Scott Weiland and Eddie Vedder and more crooners, more singing guys. But mostly, if we're going to pinpoint it to one guy, it's Lane Staley. That was my guy. I like a dark, moody vocalist, and he, in my opinion, created the best moods. And so I kind of followed that kind of thing with him. And then obviously those guys are above and beyond my skills, but I really did gravitate towards them. So the screaming thing came secondary. So I wanted to get back to the melodic approach, and which in turn makes people think of the earlier stuff. Yeah. Which, you always hear, man, I wish you guys would make music like you did in the beginning or whatever, which is difficult to even get into a mind frame when that stuff happened 10, 15 years before. Yeah.
Also, you're not that person anymore. That's kind of hard to explain to a punter, fan, whatever. It's kind of hard to get across. It's like, well, yeah, I know that's what you want, but that's not who we are.
Yeah. My girlfriend didn't break up with me last week.
Yeah. I can't be 25 again.
Yeah. So, anyway, so yeah, it's cool. It's cool that people hear the early stuff in it, because that was a little bit of a conscious effort, at least if there was anything to be conscious. And then the lyrics are the most important lyrics I've ever written for myself personally. So and I've been a vague guy lyrically. I like that. I don't like to be real blatant, but this is probably more blatant than ever, because I think there's an encompassed theme for the album, whereas before the albums were sort of themey, but not the same on every song. Whereas this one is it's a time vault. It's a place that, one song in particular was written the evening my mom passed, and I had to write a song that night, and I had the music for it. Steve was sending me all the tunes at that time, and I listened to that. I know exactly where I was. I'll never forget it, and that's special about all of it. Yeah. Even though it was an awful time, it really helped me manage to understand how to cope with loss and heal from things of that nature, and find ways to remember it in a positive manner. Whereas like now I'm just thinking about the great times, as opposed to at that time I was just deep in it,
Well, you're going through the stages of grieving, aren't you? You've got disbelief, you've got anger,
numb.
Numb. Then there's bargaining.
Yeah.
And then finally, kind of closure, and you're right. The further you get away from it, the easier it is. But no, I lost my father 8 years ago.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's and I read an interview with you, and you mentioned about writing and the catharsis of it as well. And and it made me think. When I lost my father 8 years ago, I wrote 2 sets of lyrics, and I hadn't written any lyrics for 15, 20 years. But it was kind of, I felt like I had to do something. I felt like it's not being a comic, it's not, I'll write some material on right. My father died. That's not going to happen. But there was, I just wanted to try and, I had to vent somehow.
Sure.
And there's all sorts of things you can do, but it just kind of, and it brought me back to that. And funnily enough, I'm probably going to use them on some new material that we're doing.
You got it, man.
It was just kind of weird, as you said, you had to write something. I totally know how you feel.
It's not that we're lucky that we're musicians in the sense for that, but it's a great outlet, and it really...
and one that a lot of people don't have.
Exactly.
Because you can... It's kind of like... What I found for me is putting your emotions down on a page and being able to then read them in the third person as well, as being the person that's written them, but also read them in the cold light of day. It's a way of figuring stuff out.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's just that's part of the process, and I think the less you put a Band-Aid over things, the better you're putting your time into cope and deal. And I've put Band-Aids on a lot of things in my life, and I think that it prolongs an inevitable of having to deal with it eventually.
It's going to come to the surface sooner or later. Yeah.
So that's it's a big part of it, and I think that we are lucky, and I think you should definitely use your lyrics.
I'm going to try. But it's kind of weird looking back at that stuff now. It's the minute I read it, it's kind of like, whoa, God, that's going straight back to a very dark place. How is it performing that kind of stuff?
Well, that's the other part of it. Since I've had time to deal with it and process it, I've turned it in a way, obviously it's about one specific tragic event, but I've kind of turned it into, this is part of that healing. So I don't look at it in a bad light at all. I look at it in a way that this is just me still dealing with it, and this is my own therapy. I'm not talking to anybody in a room specifically I'm paying money to.
You're welcome to pay me.
It all helps, man. It helps to talk about it, and as men, I think sometimes we don't. It's not a part of our makeup,
and we're great at having the easy conversations.
Yeah. The difficult conversations are tough, and me specifically, I've learned many hard lessons that having the difficult conversation is necessary, and when you have it, you feel so good.
Yeah. But
if you don't, you skate over that stuff, man. It's caused me trouble in my life.
Yeah.
So I think playing these songs live every night, and people can relate to this because everyone unfortunately is going to go through this or has gone through this. It's just we're all kind of dealing together, and that's a good feeling too. That it's kind of just letting it out, talking about it.
Yeah.
And
you know,
as a 39-year-old man trying not to cry in interviews and things like that, which I would have never expected, but a few times I'm like, it still stings a little bit, you know, and it's supposed to.
And it will.
It's supposed to.
Well, as friends of mine have you know, same things happen to them. They've lost their parent. I always say, look, it gets better, but it never goes away.
That's the thing. It doesn't. It'll never go away. But you just
because they're never coming back, so it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
You know, but as you say, it is good to talk about it. You know, and it is. I found as well. It's like it's times like that where you find that women are so much more emotionally mature than men.
I know. Well, yeah, and I can't say enough about my wife. I mean, boy, did I need her, and she was a complete rock. So I definitely know what my wife's made of, and my sisters. You know, we all dealt with it. My dad, my father and mother had been separated for many, many years. They never got divorced and stayed very good friends, which was always nice for us kids. But Dad got pretty quiet around that whole time, and I know that it bothered him very much.
Right.
So that's men. That's men not
Yeah,
really
that's it.
processing.
Yeah, just going a bit quiet.
Especially even older men who...
Oh, hell yeah.
A different generation of emotions and...
Yeah, because it's just not done, is it?
No.
You don't show emotion. You certainly don't talk about it.
Yeah, no, I never saw my dad cry as a kid, and I may have seen him get a little choked up with this thing, but
hey, if you want to see a man experience emotion, go and watch sports with him.
Exactly. That's so true. Man, that's when I cry all the time.
Yeah. You'll see men weeping, no problem.
I've seen the Miracle on Ice, USA beat Russia a zillion times, and I still get choked up watching that thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Nah, that's good stuff.
I was just kind of thinking when you were saying about you guys very much sort of, you got together and you did this, and you didn't know what kind of reaction you were going to get. You just kind of got together and went, right, okay, let's do this thing. Let's put this album together and everything else. Do you think there's also an aspect of there not being a label involved as well, as in like you didn't owe anyone anything, so it's kind of like, look, we're doing this. I'm not saying you thought this, but essentially, this may never come out. People may never hear this or whatever. But it's and because of all of that outside bullshit that sometimes puts you on, a kind of treadmill of you need to do this now and you need to do that. And the fact that you just kind of removed yourselves from all of that, the industry and everything else, and it's just like, right, well, we'll just do what the fuck we want when we want.
I mean, it wasn't like a totally conscious thing.
No, it doesn't sound like it, but it's where you've ended up.
We did know that there was no pressure. I mean, it was like, because we were actually entertaining doing this completely digital on our own, not even having a label. Because before I spoke with these guys and a couple others, I really didn't see how relevant they're going to be, But I was wrong about that. I'm wrong in the sense of the publicity and the distro, and I was kind of being bullheadish about it. I was like, we could sell 50,000 records worldwide through iTunes and make money for once.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking that way, and I was like, man, we'd give Apple a percentage of the records and everyone just buys digital and it's mine. But, it's not about the money so much. I mean, everybody's got to pay their bills, and so in that sense it is, but it was more about, I want to be on the festivals still. I want to be able to tour the UK still. You don't do that without booking agent, management, actually in 2013, we did come here on our own for a 2 week or a month, 20 some shows, just to get our name back out here and see what was happening, and it was total morale booster. We did that without a label, so I guess in a sense you can do it on a small level, but you're not going to download without it.
Yeah.
You're not, and those are the things that are still really relevant to me, at least in my mind, which led me come this way. But now that I'm with him and you're sitting here, you would have had to reach out to me on Facebook to try and meet me at a bar so we could do this.
That's right. Yeah.
This is all part of what you get out of it, and it's needed. So, and these guys have been, better than ever for me, and we're getting a second chance at something that a lot of people don't get a first chance at.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it all into account. But to answer your question, yes, the freedom was there. There was no pressure. And in turn, we just did everything the way we wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Although we want vinyl to come out on this. So that is the one thing that we haven't got the green light on yet. But
Okay.
We'll get a special release here later.
Well, my usual suggestion whenever we're with any band is crowdfund it.
No.
It's like I was talking to Rody from Protest the Hero because we've got the ultimate crowdfunders.
Yeah, they raised some money, didn't they?
Yeah, didn't they? And they said, and he was saying, "Well, really want the new album, the next album. We really want it to be on cassette." And I was like, "Right, you've got to crowdfund it." So they're not going to crowdfund the album, but so I was convincing him to do that, and obviously I get 50%.
Yeah, there you go.
It's my idea.
Yeah.
They're all bad.
Yeah, they are as well. Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way.
It's alright.
It's great fun, yeah.
Yeah, that go well.
Cool.
Is this all right then?
We're fine. Are you all right, man?
Yeah, man, I'm great.
Yeah. Cool. Because we've got another one to do now.
Right.
So
Okay.
Over.
Yeah. No worries.
What time are the guys coming back?
They're going to be here at 6.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, you've got one more 20-minute phoner, not phoner, she's here, face to face, Alex,
Cool.
and then the Reddit thing. But Abby's
So you've been abandoned while everyone else goes out and enjoy.
We were so tired, man. Everybody went back and went straight to bed. Like we were falling asleep at lunch over there.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Nope. It's been well. We're touring with a band called All Hail the Yeti. That those are our friends, and they're from Canada. And we just did a U.S. tour with them, and we just get along so well. And we stay out every night till like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Yeah. It's being on tour with your mates. There's the good and bad side of that.
Yeah, and I just been getting a text from Moose from Bullet right tonight. He's like, "Where are we meeting up tonight?" And I'm just like, "Man, we got too easy tonight, but we'll probably meet up for a little bit." But yeah, that's the life of a rock and roller, I guess.
Yeah, good, exactly. Well, look, thanks for your time. I'm going to see you tomorrow night.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck to you.
Not at all. And you, sir.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Cool. So there you go. That was a typical sort of Talking Bollocks track, wasn't it? It was really cool. Really nice guy, and yeah, it was good to hang around. And thank you very much to Layla at Spine Farm Records, who just absolutely totally sorted me out completely. To interview him. I got 40 minutes. Well, I think it was about 40 minutes with Brock there. Everyone else got about 20 minutes tops. So that was really, really pretty darn impressive. And we're kind of winding down now. And as you'll see by looking at the clock, I did warn you, that. I just felt like I couldn't keep these like 2-hour fucking monster-sized podcasts up, and I knew there would be one that dips slightly in length, and this is probably this is going to be one of them. But I've got some shit lined up, guys, that you are going to fucking just shit. You're going to lose your drawers. I'm not saying I always, that's my policy, as you know. I'm not saying because it might not happen, but a good friend of mine from back in the day who you all fucking know, I'm really looking forward to sitting down with him. I've got his number in my phone. I'm not going via fucking anyone. I will be contacting him direct, the ledge, and we will be hopefully we'll be hooking up for a chat. Also looking to be hooking up for a conversation in March with there's no point in saying who. I'm not going to say, but anyway, look, I'm keeping it coming, okay? The standards remaining high. Next month, this month, Volbeat and 36 Crazyfists, which is cool, and last month was obviously Protest the Hero and Death Rage. That is all that's fairly contemporary. We're going a bit more old school over in March, and yeah, don't worry, but you're gonna love it. It doesn't matter whatever you like, whatever kind of music you like. Hopefully you're gonna be into it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. So it should be cool. Anyway. I do find myself winding down now, but. A bit of a tip I wanted to give you guys. There's a website called bass.com, and that is exactly as it sounds, bass.com, BASS.com. Cheap CDs. If you seriously, cheap CDs. They were doing because Soilwork are bringing out a double DVD It's CD. Is it double CD and DVD or double CD and Blu-ray package? And at the moment, I think it's £6 cheaper on Bass.com than it is on Amazon. I mean, it's fucking... It makes the thing affordable. It makes the thing think, I wasn't going to get that, but Jesus, I am now. So yeah, I definitely worth checking out. I picked up a couple of things from there this month. And I'll tell you one thing I've bought, which I really, really like. And that is the Through the Never soundtrack. It fucking rocks. I mean, I've got to say I'm a fan of the movie. I've watched it a number of times, and I've got a 3D telly and I've watched it, and I have to say it works fucking brilliantly in 3D. Not everything works well in 3D. I don't watch, I pick and choose what I watch in 3D, but it is superb. It really is. And funnily enough, the rest of Acid Rain were over as well. We were at rehearsals, and it's first time guitarist had a chance to see it in 3D, and he's a bit of a movie buff as well, and he was amazed, blown away by it. It was really cool. But anyway, yeah, the CD is so fucking cheap. It's a double CD, and it's kind of like it's less than £5 on Amazon, and it was a little bit more, funnily enough, on Bass.com, and I'd actually bought it off there before I went, oh, well, how much is it on Amazon, and fell into that trap. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if you're a Metallica fan, it's a great fucking album. It's a great live album. It really is. But anyway, I digress. I hadn't actually meant to mention any of that. Well, the Bass.com thing, obviously, I had. And funnily enough, I heard somebody pronouncing the name of a band, and I've always thought them as Messhugger, okay? Now, or Messhugger, or as I heard somebody say recently, Meshuggah. And I thought that's probably why I've never got into them, because it just sounds like it just sounds somebody like from my neck of the woods, from Yorkshire back in the day, saying, me sugar, as in like what's happened to me sugar in me tea, or me sugar in me coffee. And I don't know, I wanted to share that with you, and I've probably fucking for a comedian, I didn't really fucking deliver that very well, did I? Jesus Christ. So anyway, I thought it sounded like, where's me sugar in me coffee, or me sugar in me tea? I'm cracking me up. I'm fucking so not, am I? Oh yeah, and here's an oxymoron for you. Really good cover band, really good tribute band. Look, I'm not going to piss on what you do. I am actually. I'm very shortly going to be doing that. But look, everyone has to earn a living, but I just think it's pretty fucking tragic that basically the easiest way to make a living out of being a band at the moment is being in a tribute band and a cover band, and I just think that's incredibly fucking sad. I really, really do. There's a Metallica tribute band out there called Sad But True, and I thought, yeah, that just fucking sums the whole scene up right there. I would never ever pay to go and see a cover band or a tribute band. I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. You go and do that. Do whatever you like. I just think it's fucking musically bankrupt. I think it's creatively bankrupt. I really do. But hey, it exists. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times. It's the way things have gone. But there it is, and I just wanted to get that off my chest. Speaking of old and ancient things, I saw Rob Halford came out and said that he'd like to do he'd certainly think and like to do another Fight album. There's no rush, Rob. In fact, there's no rush for another Judas Priest album, if I'm honest, mate. But just take it easy. Take it easy. It's all right. Don't worry about it. And apparently, the new Def Leppard album has been put back later in 2015. It's been put back, and I just want to say, yeah, there's no rush. Again, there's no rush, lads. There's basically really no rush. In fact, don't feel the need to actually release it. Put it back forever. That'd probably do me. Anyway, look, wow, we're back to the days of podcasts coming in at like an hour 40. I bet that's it's going to freak some of you out, isn't it? It's kind of weird, actually. I am sort of sat here thinking, right, wow, it feels a kind of bit like I should be like, oh no, there's but there isn't, you know. It's just, well, no, it's the ending. It's the ending, and it's my my little chat to just you, you know, just you listening, just you there, you. Thank you for listening. Thanks to all of you for listening. You know, I say it every month because I mean it. I love doing this. I'm going to do it until I fucking die, which might be quite soon. The way things are going now. Seriously, look. I mean, I'm what I'm excited about is, won't it be cool when I mean, you know, I mean, I get around and I've got plenty of contacts and friends I can call on, but wouldn't it be great getting the band back on the road and actually being able to do some stuff on the road, and, you know, bumping into people and getting some really cool stuff. I'm going to try and maybe get to a festival and get a press pass at a festival this year. I'm not sure. The only trouble with that is festivals are they're just notorious for not being able to get hold of bands and do interviews and shit like that. So I don't know, probably not, because I fucking hate festivals anyway. You know, festivals are about camping, certainly not about standing in a field listening to a band who you can barely hear because there's a high wind, so they sound like they're playing 2.5 miles away. But seriously, thank you, all of you. I want to keep this rocking. Want to keep going, keep getting better and better interviews, make the cast, you know, make it longer and longer. It's a little bit shorter, I know, but it's quality, not quantity, my friends. That's what I used to tell my girlfriend. It is. It's all about the quality, and so I want to keep it high. I want to keep, you know, keeping the. I mean, like I said, we've got the Malcolm Dome interview in the can as well, and I'm probably being a bit sparing. I could have probably thrown that into this podcast as well and made it another sort of 2.5 hour one at least. But I always like to have an interview in the bag just in case things go wrong. And Malcolm is my one interview that I've got in the bag, and I just don't feel comfortable with chucking everything I've got and then being in the stage where it's like, right, okay, you've now got nothing in the can for next month, because I know what happens, and if, you know, shit's supposed to happen and it doesn't. And I'll give you an example, okay? Last year I was supposed to interview Gloria Cavaliera, and it didn't happen 3 times. And it still hasn't happened, and now they've done an interview with the Metal Sucks guys, both Max and Gloria, and I really wanted to do that interview, and that was the whole point, and it didn't happen. And so you know, that's why. And by the way, it was just the way it is. It wasn't. I'm not, you know, speaking ill of the Soulfly camp in any way. You know, we tried to make it happen. In fact, it was really funny. I got a message from Gloria going, "Is Thirsk near you?" And that was really weird. Soulfly were playing Thirsk in North Yorkshire, which is not far from where I'm from, but it's like, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. No one plays Thirsk. That's Soulfly for you. And it was really weird to get a text from Gloria Cavaliera saying, "Are you near Thirsk? Are you based near Thirsk?" I said, "No, I'm in London, but fuck, I know where you are." It's kind of one of the most bizarre text messages I've ever got. So anyway, that's my excuse. I'm rambling now. I apologise. Maybe I'm just trying to drag the podcast out to a more suitable length. But nah, fuck it, you know. I've done my best, guys. I've done my best. I've explained why it's a bit shorter this month, but it doesn't mean I love you any less. Every single one of you for listening, thank you so much. Let's remember, when we're at gigs, we need to shout bollocks, and then you need to shout bollocks back, and then you need to shout talking bollocks, because it's just a laugh, isn't it? And that's what this is all about. That's what life is about. If you don't fucking laugh, you may as well just fuck off. You're not enjoying yourself, you know. Anyway, it's been wonderful. It really has. I feel like it's really good to get this off my chest. It's been great talking to you. I love doing this thing, and I love having you guys listen. Do interact. Send me your albums that you've rediscovered. If they're still shit, or they're not shit anymore, or they were great and they're now shit, whatever. Go visit allabouttherock.co.uk. Follow us on Twitter at Talking Bollocks with a Z instead of an S. On Facebook, find us on. You'll see the little mic and flames there. You can find us. And that's it. That's all I got for this month, guys. But what I'm now going to finish with is some tunes. One tune in particular This is by an Italian thrash band called Ultraviolence. And the reason I'm playing this is they're obviously huge old school thrash fans. I mean, they've got the full-on, the high tops. They're all wearing the fucking proper t-shirts, you know, like old school thrash shirts. I mean, one of them's wearing a Zentrix shirt, for fuck's sake. So obviously their taste isn't great. Ha ha ha! That's a joke. Please. I know they are my friends, Zentrix. It's a joke. But no, so anyway, Ultraviolence, great name. Like, it's got so much old school cred as a name as well. I mean, it's a great album. Violence, great band. I mean, they've got it going on basically. And also, funnily enough, one of the members followed Talking Bollocks. So hello or buonasera to Simone Vere. I apologise for the pronunciation, but I'm looking forward to playing your song, Prego, which is Italian for welcome. It happens to be my favourite word in Italian. Just in case you thought I was, Prego, what the fuck's that all about? So anyway, thank you, Simone. Good luck with the band. So let's get back to it. Ultraviolence. The album, got a new album coming out called Deflect The Flow. This is off Deflect The Flow. I suggest you get it. It's not coming out until April. I'll mention it again when it's coming out, but it's not coming out till April. Now, I am the kind of guy that always says, like, I want originality. I want people to deliver new music. And the influences on Ultraviolence music are obvious the minute you start hearing them. But it's really high quality, and I also think they bring a little bit of new school to it as well. But it's just a really lovely mix of both. So for those of you out there who are thinking, I don't know, just check it out. I really like this. They're doing an awesome job, and I just think it's fucking awesome that bands like this are popping up everywhere. And the Italian metal scene is getting stronger and stronger, and it's good to see. So check them out. Go to their YouTube page, find them on Facebook, check it all out. This is from the upcoming album Deflect the Flow, coming out on Candlelight in April. This is Ultraviolence and Lost in Decay. Sorry, that was awful, wasn't it? That was fucking proper old school shit radio DJ introducing the song. Okay, I'm going to do it again. For some reason, I've done that a couple of times now. All right, anyway, look, thank you very much for listening. See you all next month. It's been a pleasure. And this is Ultraviolence, Lost in Decay. That was shit again, wasn't it? This is Ultraviolence, Lost in Decay. That was better, but I can do it. This is Ultraviolence and Lost in Decay!